Sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryankaravavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I was instructed by Jyotika that I am supposed to speak on Shivaratri. You know, I'm getting threatening calls along. You know. This. Why are we calling it a Shivaratri? Could have been Shiva Jayanti, you know. Huh? What is the Shivaratri? You know, whole night.
Consciousness should be aligned with Shiva's consciousness.
The whole day can be, no?
The spine has to be vertical for that.
Chumma.
That's what I heard.
On madness. All other times your spine can be crooked. Your spine should be erect wherever you are, whenever you are. Full stop.
Awakening will come after the night.
Huh?
Awakening will come after the night.
After the night, excellent. If you see, the day begins what time?
At the end of the night.
12 a.m. Correct? 12 a.m. is night or day? You see, no, we are confused. We think, morning 6 o'clock, no? But factually, day starts at beginning. See, the period, in fact, Shivaratri comes every month. There's nothing, special only about, this month Shivaratri. Of course, there is something special about it. I'll come to it. You see, but then Shivaratri is there like Ekadashi. Ekadashi comes every month, right? But then Vaikuntha Ekadashi is special. Month of December time that comes. That's very special. Similarly, this is the 14th day. That month is divided into two 15ths. Right? Krishna Paksha and Shukla Paksha. Krishna Paksha is from full moon to no moon. Shukla Paksha keeps growing. You see, Prathamai means immediately the first day. First day we say which day? Krishna Paksha or Shukla Paksha. Similarly, the 14th day is the Shivaratri. Every month that comes. But what is interesting about this month? This month is referred to as Kumbha. Right? Kumbha is like, the gata we have, something like that. What is inside that? You can see this. The kumbh you can see. But what is inside, we will not be able to know unless you go inside. You see, you got to open it and see what is inside. There is something inside. Like, this is here. You can see the outer portion. What is inside? Generally, you assume I am keeping water, right? I can keep even hot water. I can keep milk also. I can keep coffee also. How you will know that? When you open it and see, you will know. Similarly, this month is where we have the idea comes very natural here, because this is the time where we would have completed our harvesting. You see, harvest is over. Once the harvest is over, you have got the yield and all these things. Now what are you? After you have got all your returns, you slogged and you worked and you got the harvest being done, you got everything. After getting all that is comfortable is a time you can afford to spend on investigation into higher. You see, that's why this month is special. Why this particular month? First, this is more of a cultural. I'm just going to throw you various angles, please. Right? How these people have fixed, because all the celebrations that we are having in our culture, if you see, it's all goes with the nature. Yes, we live with nature. So naturally, what should be the scenario now? Because before harvest is over, next harvest is yet to come. In between period is where you are really mentally available for probing, investigating into something higher. When you are struggling to meet your ends, there's no point in talking about the higher. You see, it will not work. First requirement is you should be appeased. This is the period where after this, appeased. This is the basic one. Then we have this, the popular idea now. Because everything today we have to talk in terms of your body. You see, if it is not connected to your body, now you don't understand anything, and we think that is scientific. I don't know. I don't understand that. But then this has become very, very, very famous now. Northern side there is a pull happening, so you have to settle. That's what you are saying, no? He says you have to sit erect so that as your kundalini is rising, you raise. I have seen people sitting like that for year after year after year. Nothing has happened to them. Right? All that happens is what? Next day you feel good sleep. But then holidays people give. Today they give holiday. I say you should give holiday next day. Assuming that you keep awake whole day, next day is where you need to rest, you see. But then they give holiday the morning today. But today is Sunday, so it is it happens so. But otherwise, we give government holidays here. It's not that there is no, it's not that it is false claim. Remember, I'm not saying it is a false claim. That claim, to claim by you should have done that yoga abhyasa 365 days. If you have done this yoga abhyasa 365 days, then it will work. Suddenly today morning, you whole day you sleep and then say, I'm going to keep myself awake the whole night, and next day morning will I get mukti, it won't happen. And people always give these stories also, These people are fantastic in, spinning stories. There was one hunter, he went for hunting, and then he was chased by a tiger. He got so scared, he climbed a tree, and the tiger says, how long you will be there? I'll wait. Permanently you can't be sitting there, no, you will come down, no. I'll wait here. And the tiger is not moving, that's also sitting. This fellow is also sitting there, and he is so scared. If he sleeps, what will happen? He may fall off straight into the mouth. So he can't afford to do all that. Therefore, what was he doing? Just to keep himself engaged, what he was doing, he's plucking the leaves and throwing. It so happened that he climbed this bilva tree, and so happened that there was a Shivalinga beneath, and then Shiva took that as this man is doing, puja to me, archana he is doing. Whole night he did this archana for Shivalinga. Next day morning, Shiva appeared and said, you come with me to. Imagine if Shiva were to come now, tomorrow morning, wherever we have these congregations, imagine he has to come and say, come with me to Kailash, let's go. Huh? We'll say what? Wait. I have, my project is still pending. You see, my daughter has to get married and this one has to happen, that one. I'll finish all these things. Keep a seat reserved. That we will tell him. Whenever I come, thank God he is not coming. I wish he comes actually, so that we know what is our real nature. That's what Manikavasakar, one of the greatest of, the saints, devotees of Shiva. There are 63 of them, Of the 63, the top 4, all-time greats we say, 63 were all-time greats. Like in tennis we have all-time greats, players. Like that, of Shiva devotees, they have taken 63 all-time greats. Of those all-time greats, there are 4. He is one of them, Manikavasakar. For him, that's what happened. Shiva came and said, I'm taking everyone to Kailash. You also come? No. A fellow said, hey, I have business to finish, man. The king has given me some project. He has to buy some horses. He was a minister. So minister was given some money by the king to buy horses. He said, I have come to buy horses. I have not come to. I just saw some people sitting and talking. So I just peeped in. I am not interested in your moksha, mukti, you keep to yourself. And he left actually. After that, the fellow wrote one text, Tiruvasakam. My God. That entire text is, if you read that, it will melt you. It's so unfortunate that how many of you can follow Tamil, read Tamil. It's a very unfortunate thing. That entire Tiruvasakam is that fellow is lamenting. What an opportunity I missed. What an opportunity I missed. That's all the text is. Whole text is only that fellow will go on crying and crying and crying. He's like a real crybaby, this man, Manikavasakar. Amazing man, You came and you gave me free. Just like that you asked me to come. What an idiot I am. What a stupid I must be to miss it. Like there are all of us. And we think, whole night do the Shiva Puja, I will get mukti. Mukti you will not get. Sleep you will get. Next day morning. Morning. Good sleep you will get. Does it come? But then you must understand there is the effort practiced by this people of yoga system. Right? And remember, the yoga system is not what we are understanding today as yoga, please. What we are doing is exercise. You see, the asanas and all this, this breathing techniques is to expand your lung capacity, and that is good to maintain your flexibility, mobility, strength and all that. This is not going to give, this is not yoga abhyasa, please. Yoga abhyasa is a totally different one which can be practiced only under a direct supervision of a teacher. 1-to-1. If there are 3 people sitting, means it is a crowd. Remember, for every learning, they have rules. If you have to learn music, music teacher will be able to teach music to you only if there is minimum 3 students. Minimum requirement is 3 students. Only then they can teach. Vedic chanting, they have to teach. Minimum requirement is 2. More than 2 is allowed. But if there is only one student sitting there to learn Vedic chanting, they will not teach. Minimum is 2 required. When it comes to yoga abhyasa, the rule is there should not be any more student. Now, if we tell this to yoga studios today, they will file a case on me. They'll say, this guy doesn't know anything about yoga. What does he know about yoga? They will say. Because it is such a risky procedure. Remember, it's not just a casual one to keep our, ourselves mentally relaxed. Today it has become more of a stress buster. This is, these practices. The proof, you may ask me, on what basis you are saying Ishwaran? What is the proof of it? Think about how many year old is this Patanjali's Yoga Sutra? Because in Bhagavad Gita he refers to those texts, which means it must be before this, right? At least this is about 5,500 years old. Must be older than that. 7,000 years. In 7,000 years, which is existing here, how many yogic teachers came to the masses before 1900? See, we have had, in India, this is one thing we can talk about. Every 5-10 kilometers radius you travel, you will find one Adhisthana of a great Mahatma. Somewhere they will say, this Mahatma stayed here, that Mahatma stayed here, this person is great, that person. Every 50, 50 is too much actually. I would say even 10 kilometers radius, if you see, you will find one person. What a great, parampara. Now, Karnataka, you said this Dasar parampara is a great parampara. Now, you come to this Tamil Nadu side, you go to this Andhra side, you go to Maharashtra side, you go to the northern, throughout the land, we had so many bhaktas were there, so many jnanis were there, so many things were there, but how many yogis we are able to find who came to the masses and they did their teaching? About 150 years back. Go backwards. You will not find a single person. Does it mean they didn't know? Sir, this came only now, sir. This came only about 50 years back. See, your great-grandfather would not have known about mobile phone. Why? Because it wasn't there. But you cannot say this yoga, meditation, all that was not there. But then why it was never brought to the masses? If it is such a useful one, if it is such an extraordinary one, if it can be taught to everyone, it should be taught to everyone. It can be practiced by everyone. If it is such a easy exercise, if it is such a simple thing, for generations all these people, not a single one. We cannot say all these people are suppressed. We have had rebels here, remember. It's not that we have not had rebels in spiritual. I'm not talking about socio. I'm talking about spiritual rebels. So many of them were there. So many systems were there. So many varieties we are having. In and through all these things, 2 things were never brought to the general public. Yoga, meditation. Everything else was talked about. With reference to spiritual or religion or philosophy or whatever you call it, you will find everything discussed, but these 2 things were never brought to the masses. My question is why? If you ask this one question, we can understand the sanctity they gave to these practices. You see, it is not that there is no truth in it. Remember, it's not there is no truth. There is truth. It's not false. It's not a false claim. The environmental thing is so conducive for a particular practice. For whom? Exactly like before the surgery happens, they sanitize the entire place. You see, the entire the operation theater gets sanitized, purified. Fantastic. Everything is clean and maintained to its best. Will that make a surgeon a better surgeon? If you enter there, can you do surgery? But a surgeon will not do without sanitizing. You see that? Now that is what Shivaratri is. Shivaratri is a night where nature makes it so conducive. But who can exploit it? Who can make use of it? You see that? Those who have been struggling to kindle that Kundalini Shakti, right? Those who have been striving, for them it will work. Not for others. You see that? I've been tapping, it's like, figuratively. Don't think literally it is there, but it's only figurative, please. Right? Figuratively, they present that as the Kundalini Shakti is represented as a snake, that called snake, sleeping. You got to tap it. That's the effort. You keep tapping it, the hood comes up. Like, the snake charmers you would have seen. They go tap it, it comes out like that. You see, you are supposed to tap it and it is supposed to rise. The problem we have is, throughout the year I've been trying and trying and trying. It's not. I'm not able to bring it up. You see, that is what my practice is. So over a period of time, what happens to a person is, he loses faith in the existence of something called Kundalini itself. Remember, you see, I've been trying 364 days. I have tried, right? All that the teacher is saying, I am doing, and nothing is happening, right? What will happen to this fellow? Hey, what is there? Something should be there, no? Something should be there. Nothing is happening. That's where they say, because like the flights we say, tailwind and headwind. Shivaratri is tailwind. That's all it is. If your flight is flying at 700 km speed, if the tailwind were to be 50 kilometers, or 50 is too much actually, it's a storm, right? 15 kilometers, then the resultant effect will be 715 kilometer speed, your flight will go. That's why many times you will find from Bangalore to Calcutta one time, from Calcutta to Bangalore different time, and they say, why? We had so much of turbulence. What has turbulence got to do with time delay? Because it impacts the speed. You see, that nature makes it conducive for those who have been practicing, those who are into that yoga abhyasa. For them, this night becomes very important. Why? Because naturally there is an extra pull in the northern pole. I'm not getting into the astronomical equations and all that you can see. That's all available, right? I don't have to go into it. And that's why it is called Kumbh. Means, in yoga abhyasa, there are three things they say. Breathe in, retain the breath, breathe out. These are the three steps. 3 steps of breathing process is only this. You breathe in, you hold, breathe out. Right? Puraka, Kumbhaka, Rechaka. That Kumbhaka is where the entire breath is held. The longer you hold, better the possibility. Better the possibility means don't think something mystical there. First thing you'll experience here is simple. This is simple biology. How do we get energy? Oxygen. What is the source of oxygen for us? Primary source of oxygen? Air. You breathe, you will get oxygen. You are not breathing oxygen. You are breathing the air. Your lungs is the one which absorbs the oxygen content in the air and releases the rest. Right, outgoing. Now, when there is oxygen content in the lungs, then that oxygen is supplied to the heart, through which it gets mixed to the bloodstream, and more oxygen carried in the bloodstream supplied to all the cells. All the cells are alive. This is a basic one, anatomy. This is not philosophy, anatomy this is. Kumbhaka, why they practice is, all that is happening is what? Your oxygen is possibility for you to have oxygen, more the oxygen, more purified the blood, more purification of the blood, better functioning of the internal organs. This much science can teach, right? But they say something more happens than this. This is where yoga comes into picture. You see, up to this, even our anatomy is enough. Physical anatomy study, if you do, more than enough actually. Yeah, correct sir, all that is fine. But then where that whole thing starts is, it says there is something that happens in that Kumbhaka beyond just the lungs absorbing oxygen. That will not happen by itself. These things will happen by itself. What? Lung absorbing oxygen, oxygen getting mixed to blood, etc. All that is automated. Right? Why? Because this is directly connected to your survival. That's how nature's design is. Anything connected to survival, automated. Correct? Your breathing is automated. Why automated? Imagine breathing is given to your choice. What will happen? Sir, I got so involved in the class, I forgot to breathe, you will say. You see, it cannot be. You see, anything connected to survival, nature takes care. But then, when we say that I am going to grow spiritual, you are saying I am going to transcend the very nature, very prakriti. I am trying to rise above prakriti. When I say, prakriti will not object it, at the same time prakriti is not going to help you also directly. You see, so that's where we say this effort when you put in, prakriti says you are doing that extra, no, I will help you little extra. You see, exactly like teachers. The teacher will generally teach in the class and then go. When the teacher sees a student who is struggling on his own, we find the teacher calling that fellow and teaching him. He gives something extra. You see, why? He is not being partial. You can't say he is partial. It is natural for the teacher who is interested in helping. Similarly, Prakriti is represented by Shakti, lady, women. Why? That is a nature. Nourishment is the nature in woman. That's why Prakriti is equated to Shakti. So what she does not, she is there to provide us. Basic things she will give. But when she sees you are trying to do something more, if you are going to outrun, is only your parents will be able to appreciate it. No one other than the father and mother will appreciate someone who is outrunning themselves. Isn't it? Sir, I built a business with 100 crores. Now my son is doing that business for 500 crores. Will the father be jealous of that or be proud of that? Be proud. Brother? Huh? Brother will say what? Huh? Sister will say what? Even husband and wife, you can't believe that, many times. But you will never find a single example of parent who doesn't like the kid surpassing them. You see, so when this child were to strive to transcend that Prakriti feels what? Feels obliged to give that extra support. That extra support she is showing is that Shivaratri. You see that? For who she is giving it? Exactly like when the teacher is teaching to this student who is struggling to solve the problem which is beyond, the fellow who doesn't even pass the exam were to sit next to him, what will happen to that fellow? Like I remember when I was doing, BCom, we had this final year BCom income tax paper, one paper income tax. And, Swamiji, already I decided to join the course. Swamiji said, you can join provided you pass the exam. You should pass, BCom. Only I'll take you, I will not take you. So I have to pass. And this income tax is, is a complicated subject, And as it is, I am not, so brilliant. On top of that, interest also is gone. You see, so, and that our professor in college is, below average. You can't blame him. That's what their level is. Now what to do? That's a college you chose to join. Or rather, that's a college which gave you seat for the marks that you got for 12th standard, Like my father, my 12th mark sheet, when I showed to my father, he saw the mark sheet. First reaction of his was this. Idhukku nee fail aayirukala. First reaction. Because after passing, though, you get 2-3 days later only you get the mark sheet, 12th, in those days, So he saw that, fail aayirukala. Which college will give you a seat? He said, I have to be, grateful that college gave me a seat. This professor is so, I couldn't understand anything in income tax. And I had my friend, who was doing his ICWA final. Along with BCom, he has completed his inter and they are appearing for final, ICWA. And ICWA, they were having income tax. One paper is there. So these people, some of my friends, these guys were all, very close to that professor. Because very studious guys, I don't know how they became my friends. It's either their fate or my fate, I don't know. They were all, really fond of me. He said, so they went to that professor and told him, sir, we have one student. He is not ICWA. He has not even passed his ICWA foundation course. But he is there. He wants to sit in your class. Can we allow? Can we bring? The professor said, I don't know whether he can follow. Because this is ICWA final, I don't know whether he can follow. Doesn't matter, sir, we'll bring him. And I have to tell you, Many times I used to tell these guys, hey, speak English, man. What are you guys talking? You can't understand head or tail of what that discussion is going on. 3 hours the class will go. That class will go for 3 hours. And these guys will feel like, 3 hours passed like that for them. For me, 15 minutes later, I will start feeling like, Yanada nadakudhu. It's like, what's going on, man? That is what will happen if you sit Shivaratri. You see, you can sit through. But that doesn't mean give up hope, please. Right? Because I could sit through, I passed my BCom exam. I could not understand the head or tail of the syllabus of ICAA final income tax. But I scored very well in income tax. 76 or something I scored for 100. It's like, I was shocked actually when my friend only picked up because after the exam I left to the ashram. So my friend went to the college to get the mark sheets and all that. He read it out to me over phone. He called me, hey, I said,
showed it to your father. The mark.
He showed to my father. I was not there. He said, no, he was doubting. My father, you cannot, he doubted. He checked twice, is it my son? Corporate accounts, a fellow taught me. One of the students took the responsibility of teaching corporate accounts to me. After the exam, we sit for discussions, evening. And these guys were discussing something about all that. I said, see, my balance sheet tallied. He said, these guys were, were struggling. Balance sheet didn't tally for them, I said, I tallied the balance sheet. It tallied for me. He said, this comment of this guy, Ranga, Ranga's comment. He's in the ashram. He's taking care of our Canada center. This fellow, he said, die. First of all, do you know the syllabus? For you to understand this out of syllabus. Only if you know syllabus, you can understand it is out of syllabus. When you don't even know what is syllabus, you attempted this, he said. And then, fortunately, some calculation I did, I solved it, I got it. Happened to be correct, way of, solving it. I scored more than him. Even now, that fellow can't digest it. Says, anytime he says, you say, I'll say, see, I scored more than you in corporate accounts. Shut up.
It happened with my son.
Yes.
My son scored in his BSc. My husband didn't believe. No, he said, no. He told me, you go to the college and find out.
Find out. Yes. Your father knows the son, you see. Are you really? But remember, you will pass BCom. You can even surprisingly pass BCom with more score also, provided you sit through. The Shivaratri is like that. You may not be able to get the best of it, right? But still, even that small one, which you can get just about a minuscule taste of it, itself is so gripping. You see? This is another angle. Then there is a Puranic angle to it. Puranic style. They must be knowing this any Puranas you go, all the Puranas will start from this churning of the Milky Ocean. All Puranas. This churning, when happened, this Devas and Asuras were churning, and then Vishnu said, I will help you. I'm sure you're all familiar with the stories, right? And they churned, they were wanting to get this Amrita, right? And they know, if you churn this ocean, you'll get Amrita, Milky Ocean. Amrita we'll get. And instead of Amrita, this Visha came. As soon as this Visha came, it started attacking everyone. You see, including Vishnu. Vishnu was affected, this Deva was affected, Asura affected, everybody is affected. And all these fellows didn't know where to go, what to do, because this poison is consuming. You see, where to go? Then they found this Kailasa where Shiva's abode. Right? That place is not affecting. So they were going for that. This churning happened on the 10th day. Right? 11th day the Visha came. 12th day these guys started running all over places. Right? Everywhere they were running. That's why if you go today, this Pradosha color, there is a peculiar way of circumventing the temple, Shiva temple. You know that. You'll go from here, go to Nandi. You see Nandi and then Shiva. Then come back. Go the other way around and go to Chandikeshwara. See. Again come back. See. Again go the other way around. This up and down they keep going. Circumventing. Why they were doing that was, that was a time where Devas got so confused. The impact of the Visha, they lost the sense of direction. See, it's just a reenacting. You see, then the 13th day they worship, 14th day Shiva appeared. And 14th day is where he called his assistant. He had a secretary. Right? He called his assistant and said, go and get. Shiva didn't go. A lot of places you would have seen, picture of Shiva taking that Visha and drinking. Shiva didn't go. He is not so, a CEO will not go. You see, Prime Minister will not go. External Affairs Minister goes, no, like that. He said his secretary, go, he says. Out there, he goes. He collects the whole thing. He comfortably brings it. Nothing happened to. That's the most interesting part. It did not impact. Shiva is a different, is one thing. His secretary he is not affected by this. So he brought that. And then he gave it to Shiva. Now Shiva said, what am I going to do with it now? Right. He said, I will swallow, I will absorb it. When he was about to absorb it, Parvati was sitting. This is where many people think, Parvati got so scared. Suppose if something affects to Shiva, what will happen? So therefore she held it on the, that's why we should read the story properly. The Visha did not impact.
How could you?
You think it will impact Shiva? And if it is going to be impacted, half is Parvati. Right? In Shiva. Which means what? She will also know. It's so silly, you see. That's not the real reason, please. Now what you are saying is, if he keeps it outside, potentially has a capacity to spread. If he takes in completely, the natural tendency of people is what? Natural tendency is, anybody who helps us in the essential period, what is our tendency? Forget. And she knows Deva's nature. You see, these Devas and Asuras, these guys' nature she knows. She says, look here, if you absorb it and dissolve it completely, what will happen? They will simply forget. These guys, both the fellows are like the same only. There's no big difference actually between Devas and Asuras in that sense, Same fellows, they'll forget it. So she says, it should not be outside, nor it should be digested. It should be just there. So that every time you see Lord Shiva, you should be able to remember. You see, that memory is, reminder is required. That's why even in our TV serial they put no recap. You see? Recap. Why they have to do the recap? We tend to forget. Same way, this happened when? Thousands and thousands of years before this happened. Right? If Shiva has consumed it, he will not. He can't hold it also, all the time. So, he says, held here. So, anytime you see Lord Shiva, you will be able to remember. You see? And he is fascinating, Lord Shiva. That is the day, the 14th. This happened. That's why the Shivaratri is very auspicious, very unique for people who are so grateful. This one story is there. There's another story. Right? Another story is this Vishnu and Brahma started having a debate. Who is superior? Right? Who is superior amongst us? Between two. That's where when these two fellows were discussing, suddenly there was a huge fire. And they were not able to identify from where it came, how it came, nothing. Top they could not, bottom they could not. Right? So, both these people they decided, okay, whoever finds the end of it, either you should see that end or this end. Right? Like, in the Gita he says, focus on the tip of your nose. Tip of the nose you focus, which tip? Because your nose has two tips. What are they? Tip of your nose means what? One is this, another one is? Right opposite the other side. Now when he says tip of the nose, many people started thinking it is here. And you go on looking here, now you'll get headache only you get. You see, that is not what they say is focus here. They say. Instead of that, I've actually seen people trying, Why? Because Krishna says in the Gita. Weird fellows. They say tip of the nose, that other tip. Similarly, these fellows said, okay, whoever finds and so Brahma said, I will go upwards. You go downwards. And Vishnu took the form of a wild boar and started digging. He just goes. 1,000 years he was digging, it seems. It's going in and going in and going in and going in. In between, what was happening? Was he will dig for about 100 years or so. What will happen if you go on using the axe? With the horns only is doing, no. When you goes on digging, what will happen? It will get, eroded. Then he will wait for 100 years for it to grow again. Again he will dig. Amazing description, these people. Who is doing like that? Other fellow took a form of a swan and flying up. He was going, never ending. And somewhere down the line, that fellow said, the one flower was falling. He caught that. He caught the flower. He said, from where are you coming? From where are you coming? He said, I am coming from the head of Shiva. Only then they realized this is Lord Shiva. Till then both didn't know what is it actually. Right? So, now Brahma said, look here, you be the proof. Right? You be my witness that I have touched the head. Why? Because you are there. No? And that's where that Lingodbhava, the appearance of that linga happened on this day at a particular time. You see, The timing is also they keep. The most important period for this is the day is split into 60 Nalige, they say, in this astrology. Astrological calculation, they say they split the day into 60. 30 daytime, 30 night time. In that night, they take the end of the 14th and the beginning of the 15th till the end of the 16th. One nadi is about 24 minutes. 24 minutes. So if you calculate like that, now without getting into the details of what is the 14, 15 and all that, for you to understand straight away, the calculation here is 11:46 to next 12:24 is the most auspicious period. This Lingodbhava happened at that time, midnight. This and that. So you take this side and that side. So that is a period which has happened. That's why that is considered, if you can stay awake the whole night, well and good. If you cannot stay awake the whole night, at least during this time, minimum. And what are you supposed to do? Don't sit and watch movies. Netflix, there is a binge watch, sir. You can binge watch, nothing will happen. That's not what you are supposed to be doing. This is the period where you are supposed to engage into this puja. This is the period of doing that puja. That is a time you will find all these people, taking into sannyasa. Diksha they give, no? That's the period. They give that diksha. The, sannyasa diksha would be, sannyasis would be taking the diksha. And the Shiva is the most important one. And in that Shiva, Linga worship is the most ancient worship we have. Of all the worships we have, Linga worship is the oldest. Why Shiva Linga? Shiva is, I told you, the Shiva literally means, Shiva means Mangalam, auspicious. Ratri means bringing in. Ratri is not just night. Shiva Ratri, he says, even though it is night, there is a pun in that word. Similarly, the word, in Sanskrit, there are a lot of things like that. Words we have. One word will have different meanings. Like for example, the word Shri. Shri means auspicious wealth. Also, Shri means poison. You see that? That's why one of the names for Lord Shiva is Shri Kanta. Kanta means throat. The one who is holding Shri in the throat, poison. You see, Shri means poison also. So in Lakshmi also. You see, that word Shri, similarly, this word Ratri. Ratri means one is night. Another one is confers. That which confers. Shivaratri means that which confers auspiciousness. That is called Shivaratri. So, what is auspicious? Anything which is divine is auspicious. Anything which is connected to the divinity, auspicious. Anything that is elevating, auspicious. And this God or this Shiva or Brahman or Atman, or in terms of God, is inconceivable. And God has no form. There is no form. Meaning you can't give a particular form and say, God is like this. There is no form here. That is the fundamental one. But then, that God who is not having any form is picturized to us to facilitate us to keep our focus. See, when they give various murtis, you see, Nataraja, Dakshina Murti. Murti means form. Dakshina means south. Dakshina Murti means what? Form, south faced. What form? Nobody knows. You see that? Dakshina Murti, when we say, there's no particular form you have. Now don't imagine immediately a person sitting under the tree with the legs folded, with having Jnana Mudra, Chin Mudra, this one, that. All that comes later. But the name is what? South facing form. Full stop. What form? We don't know. You see, for those people who cannot keep their mind focused on something which has no form, you need to give them the support, you see. Like when you are not able to walk on your own legs, we use walker, no? Right? How long you will use walker? Rest of your life? No. Till you get strength to your legs, you use walker. After that, you keep it aside and keep walking. Similarly, these forms. Then, when you take a particular form, there is a problem. So, you should have a form, but it should not have any particularity to it. You see, it's amazing. Now, 1 hour, no? Now, Lord Shiva, you give me time, no? I will go on and on and on, It's amazing there. It goes on. Exactly. What is it? We don't know. But then the problem is, those who are not able to connect to that Nirguna Brahman need something to represent it. You see, that is not God. That represents God. Exactly like the grandfather's photograph that you have in the house is not grandfather. Now you can't say you are born out of that photograph or what? No, definitely not. But then you prostrate to that photograph. As what? As though that itself is grandfather. Isn't it? Similarly, we know this is not God. Of course, we all know that. It's not that, those who created it don't know, only you have come to say that God is everywhere. God is everywhere. Can you connect? If you are not able to connect to God who is everywhere, you got to start from God particular. That particular, they had to take into something which should have a form, at the same time it should not have any particular form. That's what linga is. Linga has no form actually. Linga means idol. That's all. Identification. That's about it. Something to refer. That's why they will just go to the Narmada river, pick up one stone and say that is Shiva. Right. Kantaki river they go, they'll pick up a stone and say that is Vishnu. Right? Stone here doesn't mean he doesn't know that's a stone. Of course, he also knows that's a stone. Right? It is naturally this river, because of the, constant flow of the water that has smoothened it. This I also know. Right? It's not that we don't know all these things. We have taken this to represent Brahman God. What is the nature of that God? Who is that God? Basic introduction of God given to all of us is God is the creator of the world. Elementary education, right? Primary education is that. God is the creator. You see the world, no? Yes. You mean to say world would come by itself? You are seeing the table. You mean to say that wood automatically became the table? No. Somebody must have done that. Similarly, you are seeing the world. Therefore, there must be someone who must have created the world. Then there is a problem. Right? Once you start investigating, problem comes. Correct, sir? God created the world. Okay. The carpenter created this table. Fine. But then, he must be sitting somewhere, no? Sitting where God created the world. He must have used some material, no? From where he got the material to create the world? First is efficient cause. God is introduced as efficient cause. Then they say God is not just an efficient cause, God is the instrumental cause, God is the material cause. For any creation, you require these two things essentially. You need a material and someone to make it.
See, both the material and the...
He himself is a material. Which means God did not create the world, God became the world. You see the difference? Which means everything that you are seeing in the world is what? God only. Right. This is the secondary stage. Middle school. Mediocre. Very poor na creator. God is creation. Then comes the final blow. What is it? Who told you there is creation? There is neither creator, there is nor creation, there is only Brahman. Full stop. You see, no, I am seeing the world. Mithya, dismissed. The whole thing is just a figment of your imagination. Dismissed it. That is the third stage. This is how graduation happens. Spiritual growth happens like this. First, you are taught, introduced God as a creator, then as creation itself, then comes transcending both to say that there is no creation itself first of all. You see, there is neither creation nor creator, nothing there. That's the final education. Now we are not getting into that right now. Okay. Now Shivaratri, this linga worship comes into picture because the linga has a fascinating the description of it. If you see that, if you slice that linga horizontal, this is horizontally, if you slice it, the horizontal slicing of it, if you see, you will see a circle there. Right. If you slice it in an angle, you will see elliptical shape. This elliptical shape and the circular shape put together is lingam. Okay. What is elliptical shape represents? Elliptical shape represents all that created, manifested world. Right. Then circle represents the perfection, which is transcendental reality, Brahman. this Brahman and the Jagat, the world, fused in one, that is Shivalinga. You're all following? And that Shivalinga appeared in the form of fire. That's another beautiful one. Why Shiva appeared as the Jyoti Swarupa? That's what we have this, Tiruvannamalai, Arunachala, we say, no? That Arunachala, that Tiruvannamalai, that mountain. The archaeologists, they say this, actually. This is the condensation of the lava. That entire mountain. Right. And this Tiruvannamalai is thousands and thousands and thousands of years older than Himalayas. These are all archaeologists. It is not, Vedanta or anything. This is just incidental. What we need to understand is how much they have, and the description of that mountain, it appeared as golden in Satya Yuga. And Treta Yuga, it changed into another one. Then, Dwapara Yuga, another one. In Kali Yuga, this one. And what is interesting is that lava to come as a mountain, you can imagine how much of eruption must have happened. That lava, that's what the Lingodbhava we say, the form of fire. It's not that, there is no physical reality to it, but then they linked it to beautifully connected with something divine about it. You see that? That's where the success of these people, the success of this system, culture, is connecting something like this to, now today surrounding this site, you will not be able to identify any sign of any volcano existed. So from where that thing came, see, surrounding, at least, about 100 kilometers surrounding, 200 kilometers surrounding, nowhere we are having volcanoes. In India, we don't have volcanoes. But this is the mountain condensation. That entire mountain is a condensation of volcanic eruption, lava. No clue we have. How they had visualized it, how they had maintained it, is amazing one. Shiva appeared in the form of fire. Fire is amazing one. See, we can pollute everything. We have polluted everything. Earth is polluted, water polluted, air also polluted, space also polluted. One thing we are yet to pollute is fire. That's why it is represented. This purity. It's pure. This fire purifies. That's why you go to this Arunachala, this Tiruvannamalai temple, you go, that sthala is treated as Agni sthala. You can actually feel it. When you go inside that, near the Sanctum Sanctorum you go, it's really hot. I had a chance to, because of this work, we get some, chances like that. We could sit there for some time. They said you can sit how long ever you want. Inside the, Sanctum Sanctorum, which is very difficult to get, to go there. You can sit there. I tell you, I need to drink, 1 liter. Coming out, I had to drink so much of water, so much of dehydration. I got completely dehydrated. Sweating like anything inside. I was wondering how this, Shivacharyas were doing puja every day there. Amazing there. I don't know how they are managing, but the Shivalinga and the construction of the Shivalinga, representation of it, the base, then the middle portion, and then the Linga portion. The Linga portion has got the head is there, there are eyes there, ears there, nose there, all that is there. It's there. You can figure it out. But you have to, of course, we will never get a chance. That's why if you see the pictures, the photographs of this one, you can see. You can see that. But, someone has to tell you. Only then you will be able to identify that. So every time you go to the Shiva temple, there is a way to worship. These are all Agama Shastra. Now, how they had fused this yoga, this philosophical and this devotional, then the rituals, all this without compromising on the fundamentals. They used what was natural happening, used it so beautifully, fused all these things and said this time, because for everything timing is the most important one. Remember, whatever you have to do in life, timing is the most important. If the timing is missed, like imagine I come to your house 1:30 in the night and ring a bell. I ring a bell. I say, no sir, what happened? Says, you open the door. No, I just passing by this side. I was going to the airport. I thought, say hi to you and go. Just to check how are you. 1:30 you come in the midnight. You wake me up to ask, you can ask next day, no. Even a genuine action such as this becomes so counterproductive. You see, that every action, remember, timing is important. And they identifying such timings is the Jyotisha Shastra. You see, Jyotisha is referred to as the eye of the Veda Purusha. Veda Purusha is being personified into a being. For him, there is nose, there is tongue, he has hands, he has feet, and he has eyes also. That eye is the Jyotisha. Why Jyotisha Shastra there? Because with eye alone has a fascinating capacity, which all other organs don't have. I am speaking to you, you are able to hear me. If you were to be sitting at your home, can you hear me? Not possible. If there is no obstruction in between, you can see as far as possible. You see that? That's the beauty of eyes. Only requirement is what? There should not be any obstruction. That's why when you go to the mountain tops, from the peaks when you see, you can see, from, Rishikesh mountain top, from there, if there's no clouds, on a cloudless day, you can see Kailash. From there is a peak. Kunjapuri, there is one of the, kshetras there. The, one of the Shakti Pita. From the temple, there is a point there. If you go to the temple, there is a point. From that point, when you face, you can see that. Amazing. But only requirement is what? No mist, no clouds there. You can see it. You can see as far as possible depending upon your eyesight capacity. Similarly, what is going to be the position of various things forwards and backwards, they can see using this calculations. That's why it's called the eye of the Veda Purusha, Jyotisha. In the Jyotisha Sara, what is the essential, one of the essential thing there is to identify the most conducive timings for certain practices. Right. Vaikunta Ekadashi day is not for doing Shiva Puja. You see, it will not gel. It will not go together. You see, that's not the time for this purpose. This is the time to do for those who are Shiva Puja, those who are into the worship of Shiva, this is the time. For those who are into worship of Vishnu, that is the time. For those who are into the worship of Shakti, this is the time. So they have this various times were identified to give us, which would facilitate our effort. But remember that effort should not be just one night effort. You will not get the benefit. Real benefit you will not get. So benefit you have to get, requirement number 1. Ideal thing to do is 3 things. Upavasa. 2 is puja. 3, stay awake. These 3 things. If you can do even one, is good. Any one will do. If you can stay awake the whole night. If you cannot, at least stay awake till 12:30. You know, that 11:45 to 12:30, that 45 minutes is the most important period. You know, most important, I say, it's the most convenient time for whatever you can do. You know, stay awake. At least that much you can do. Yeah? If it is possible, go to nearby temple. You know, all the temples will do. And this is the only day we have option to do worship in the night. No other temples. All other temples in the night they close. Tirupati is only fellow, poor thing. You know, we don't give rest at all to him. You know, poor fellow. Apart from Tirupati, even Tirupati also they close for 15 minutes or so. They close 15-20 minutes they close and then they open. You know, too much, poor man. You know, but then all other temples, only Shivaratri is the only night where we have the option to worship God the whole night. The whole night you can go anytime. But the most important one is this period. If you can go to a temple and stay, do that. Don't say I'm listening to bhajan, this one, that one and all that, please. That is more of a entertainment than engaging in something which is supposed to be done traditionally. Don't convert it into the, music concert like. Michael Jackson concert like. That also will go whole night. You can go on, jumping and dancing and come back. That's not going to help you at all. Don't waste your time. You rather go to sleep. Right? At least you can, because you will have the false notion that you have done something spiritual. I say, go to sleep with the notion that you have not done anything spiritual. That's far better than to do something like this. Right? So go through a system the way they had recommended. You can't create your own things and keep doing. I see that in a lot of places that, even in temples also I see that. A lot of them keep doing their own things, Suddenly they will see God has, 16 hands. I've seen that actually, Alankara they do. Say, no, your Murti has only 4 hands now, he should have just 4 hands. Full stop. If the Murti has 2 hands, it should have only 2 hands. Suddenly you can't put 16 hands for him. Why? Because today is special Alankara. These things are not allowed. You see, you want to do that, create a Murti for that purpose. Who has, 16 hands, do that. Don't, try to do. These things are not accepted. Those things should be done in a particular way, should be done in that way. At least try to do it in that way. Or participate where they do like that. Bhajagovinam Pocha.